Hello everyone, in this video tutorial, we will learn how we can create a chatbot with Llama 2 and we will be assessing Llama 2 model through API key. So let's get started. So first I will show you a quick demo of how it works and then we will move towards the code part. So here is the quick demo. If I just write hi, it's thinking I'm here to help. How may I assist you today? Please provide me a summary of the book Alchemist. So this is my prompt. So let's see what response I get from the Llama 2 bot. Of course, The Alchemist is a novel by Paulo Coelho that tells the story of a young shepherd named Santiago who embarks on a journey to fulfill his personal legend and find his treasure. Along the way, he meets various characters who teach him valuable life lessons and guide him. So we got the summary of the book Alchemist. If I just ask, what is C++? So let's see what get C++ is a high-level object-oriented programming language that was developed by Barjani Scotrip at Bell's Lab in 1980s. Okay. So plus you can see here, we can use Llama 2 model with 7 billion parameters, Llama 2 model with 13 billion parameters, and Llama 2 model with 70 billion parameters. Along with this, we can adjust the p-value of maximum length, how many number of characters you want in the output, as well as we can also adjust the temperature value as well. So using temperature value, we can adjust how much creative we want our model to be. And if you want to clear all this chat history, just click on this button and all this chat history will be cleared and you can just start the chat again from the start. So this is how it works. So let's move towards the code part and see how we can implement this. We will assess the Llama 2 model through API from Replicate. So first of all, you just need to go to replicate.com and just create an API token over here. You can just write any name over here and click on create token. So you can see I've created a token. So you can just copy it from here. So now you can see I've copied the API token. So this is the folder I have created for this project. So this is the applet folder which I have created for this project. So now I will just go to PyCharm over here and create a new project over here. I have already created a folder. This is the folder. Okay, and now I will just create a new project. It's creating a virtual environment. So this might take few seconds before it gets ready. So it's done. So now I will just create a requirements.txt file in which I will list all the required packages. So in the requirements.txt file, I will use two packages. One is replicate and other is Streamlit. So because I am assessing the Llama 2 model from replicate.com. So replicate is basically an online cloud platform which allows us to host our large language model. So replicate is an online cloud platform which allows us to host our model. So we will be assessing the Llama 2 model from replicate.com. Okay. So plus I'm just installing Streamlit latest version 1.24.1 because because there are some functions which is available in the latest Streamlit. So I will be just using the Streamlit latest version. So in the first step, I will be importing all the required libraries, which you can see over here: import Streamlit, LS3, import replicate, import OS. So these are the three libraries which are required over here. Okay. So I will be using the Streamlit library because we are creating a web application with Streamlit. So for this, I will be using the Streamlit library. So plus, as I told you, Replicate is an online cloud platform that allows us to basically host our models, and we will be assessing the Llama 2 model through API from Replicate. Okay, so Llama 2 models comes with three different models: the Llama with 7 billion parameters, with 13 billion parameters, and with 70 billion parameters. And all these three models are hosted on Replicate already, and we will assess these models through API key. So all these three models with 7 billion parameters and 13 billion parameters and with 70 billion parameters are already hosted on Replicate, and we will assess this model through API. Okay. So in the next step number 2, I will add a title of which will appear on the browser. So when we just open the browser, this title will appear on our application, Streamlit application, which we are creating. So I will be using st.set-page-config. So I will be using this. And here I will just write the page title over here. And the page title will be, let me add some logos of Llama 2 and message Llama 2 chatbot with Streamlit. This is the title of our application. So now we will create a sidebar. Okay. And the sidebar will add our sliders, as well as we'll add different model options. Plus we will also add the option where the user can input the replicate API key. Okay. So I will just write with st.sidebar, st.title, and Llama 2 chatbot. Okay. So this is the title of our application, which will appear in the sidebar. Then I will just add the header parameters. And in the next step, let me update it to settings. This look quite good. I will add some header as models and parameters in the later on. So now let me just add text input option where the user can add their replicate API. So st.text-input. So now the user can pass the replicate API token over here. So this will be in the form of password. So write password over here. So now let's go further ahead. And now let me write an if else statement if the user pass and the replicate API key. So now you can see that replicate API key is 40, consists of 40 characters. But it always start with R8. So replicate API key always start with R8, but it is 40 characters long. Okay. So let me just write over here. If not, replicate. Okay. So if the replicate API key start with R8 dash and it is 40 characters long, so you can just check your replicate API key. It's always 40 characters long. Okay. So if it is 40 characters long, then if these two conditions are not satisfied, if the replicate API the user pass is not does not start with R8 and it is not 40 characters long, then we will ask the user to enter the correct credentials. But if the users enter the replicate API key which is 40 characters long and it starts with R8 dash, then we will proceed to entering your prompt message. Okay, so this will be a success, as it will generate a warning message, and this will be a successful one. Let's go forward. Okay, so we are good to go now. So now I will just create a subheader by the name parameters, models, and parameters over here. Now what I will do over here is, so now I will just add three different options of three different Llama 2 models. Llama 2 model with 77 billion parameter, Llama 2 model with 13 billion parameter, and Llama 2 model with 70 billion parameters, because all these three models are hosted on Replicate and we can use any of these models. Okay. All these three models are being hosted on Replicate. Okay. And we can use any of these models through API key. Okay. So we are just adding a stack box where user can choose which model they want to use. Okay, so that's look good. Just add columns over here. So if the user selects the Llama 2 model with 7 billion parameters, then we will just pass the model name over here completely. So I will just go to the replicate.com. In a while, I will just show you go to the replicate.com and show you how you can find this model over there. Okay. Or if you want to use some other large language model, how you can use any other large language model as well. So let me just fill this and then I will go towards the replicate.com. And now else we will use 70 billion parameters model. So let's go to the replicate.com and let me just show you. Just give me a minute. Let me navigate my screen towards it. So now here we are in the replicate.com. So you can see that here we have the Llama 2 model with 70 billion parameters. Okay. So you can see here we have, if you just go to Explore and you will find the Llama 2 model with 13 billion parameters over here as well. So if I just go down, okay. So you can see this Llama 2 model with 13 billion parameters, Llama 2 model with 7 billion parameters. So if you just go to API, you can see this complete API of that model. So we will just, you can just copy this and add this API over here. Okay. So that's good till now. Now let's go ahead further. So now let's add the sliders so the user can adjust the temperature value. So the temperature value varies from 0 to 1. If the 0 to 5, sorry, in the case of Llama 2 model, temperature value varies from 0 to 5. So we will set the minimum value to 0.01. So temperature value means how much creative our model is. So if you are generating some code from your Llama 2 model, then you will set the temperature value very low. But if you are just generating some articles, blogs from your Llama 2 model, then you can set the temperature value high. Now, preset temperature value shows how much creative your model will be. So if the temperature value is high, it means the model will be more creative. It might generate wrong response, but it will be very creative. It will take risk. But if the temperature value is low, it means the model will be very deterministic. Okay, so here we have set the value 0.1. Okay, so I've just set that temperature value very low. Then we are just setting the top P value. So for this, I'm also adding a slider, which I've added for the temperature as well. And I've set the default value 0.9, which you can see over here, and the step size is 0.01. So now the maximum length, how many characters or tokens we will have in the output. So one tokens contain 4 English characters. So maximum length means how many tokens we want in the output, okay, in our output response. So if we just set the maximum value of the token to 4096, so if I just multiply with 4, because one token is equal to 4 English characters, so it means we can have maximum 16,000 English characters at the output, okay. And but I have just set the default value 512, so it means we will have by default 1000 English characters in the output response. Okay. So now I'm just creating a mark down. I make content on AI on regular basis. To check my YouTube channel, and here is the link. You can just check out my YouTube channel as well. I'm just adding the link. Let me just copy the link and add the link over here. So I've just added the link. So that's the word. Before we go ahead, let's run the Streamlit application. Let me just run the Streamlit application and show you how our Streamlit app looks like. So this might take few seconds before it is executed. Okay, so set dash page that config. I made a mistake over here. I just made this mistake. So here we'll just write set dash page dash config. Okay, that's look good. Okay, password. This should be in small. Okay, so that's correct. And that's okay, so that's fine. So here the user can pass the credentials. So the application looks good till now. Okay, so that's very satisfactory. The application is looking very fine and very smooth till now. So let's go ahead further. So now I will just create an environment over here and add my replicate API token over here. Okay, I've just saved that replicate API token by the name, add in the variable add replicate API. So now we will just store the LLM generated response, okay, which our large language model has generated. We will just store that response over here. Okay, so we are just creating a session state. So if you just create a session state, so if you just refresh your Streamlit application, if the thing will remain the same. Like if we have just message displaying on the screen, if we just refresh the screen, the term which we have in the session state, it remains there. Okay. So now I've just created role assistant, and here I've just added the content. So how may I assist you? This is the default prompt which will be displayed. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm just checking one thing. Give me a second or two, please. Okay, so let's go ahead. Display the. So now I will display the chat messages on the Streamlit application. So I will just write for message in st.session-state.messages. Okay. Okay, so this chat test message function will be only available in Streamlit latest uh, version. So you can, you should install 1.24 so that you can assess this. If you don't install the Streamlit latest version, it will give the error. Okay, so now it will just display the content. How may I assist you today? Okay, so this will be displayed and it is all the lower section storage as well. So that's look quite good. So now let me just show you. Now you can see how may I assist you today is link displayed over here, and that's look quite good. So let's go further ahead. So now we will add the button. So if the user wants, you can clear all the chat history as well, which I've showed you in the demo at the start as well. So now I'm just creating a function by the name clear chat history. Okay. So here I've just added a role as assistant, and here I will just add content. How may I assist you today? So if the session history, if the user clears the chat history, this message will appear, else everything will be removed, and we'll add the button so that user can click on the button and clear the chat history. Okay. So when the user clicks on the button, this function will be executed, which is clear chat history function. So let me just show you the button, clear chat history. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll just check it later on. So now I will just go ahead and create a function to generate the LLM Llama to respond. So now I will be creating a function to generate the Llama to response. So I'm just making the few things correct and thinking about them. So just give me a minute or two. So let's get started. Generate Llama to response. First of all, the prompt the user has passed at the input. Default system prompt over here. So this is the default system prompt which I've used. I've just copied it and just pasted it over here, which you can see over here as well. And here I will just write for data in session dash a dot messages. If data role over here, sir, and so if the user has some past messages, so it will be displayed in our Streamlit application. And let me think about it very clearly. So we will have a default system prompt. Last, we will add the user message. Last, we will have added the content over here. First, it will go to the next line. Now, else, in the else, we will have the default system prompt. Plus, we will have assistant in other case if the data role is not equal to user, and plus we will have the content. And new line comes over here. And in the output, we will use replicate and run the Llama 2 model. By default, we're using Llama 2 with model with 7 billion parameters. We have the input prompt over here. Then we have the assistant over here. Then we have the temperature value over here as well, and the top P value over here as well. and the maximum length will be passed as the input over here as well. So I've just added sliders and already defined those default values above when I was explaining the code to you. So, and repetition plenty value will be set to 1. Just checking if everything looks fine. Just checking once. Maximum length I have already defined above. Temperature, all these 3 sliders, which include maximum length, top P, temperature sliders are added above. And we have before system prompt, the prompt input that the users pass. And then we have the data role as user. And we will have the assistant response. So this looks good. I'm just checking if anything is missing over here. But it looks fine for now. Yes, we have stored the LM generated response. We have displayed the chat messages. We have cleared the chat messages. We have created a function to generate the much response. Okay, so return output. Let's go ahead and complete the remaining code. So we have left with 2 things now. We just need to complete those things and then we are good to go with our application. Okay, so let me just add the print function over here so I can just print the data. Okay, so that's fine. So now we are left with 2 things. First is user provided prompt. So I will add over here the prompt provided by the user. So if prompt, so the user enters the input, and if the replicate API key is disabled, it's not disabled, okay? Okay, so that's look quite good. Okay, that's look fine as well. Okay, so the prompt message that the user passed will be displayed on our Streamlit application. This, so that's so good. Now we will generate a new response if the last message is not from the assistant. Okay. So if the user has passed a message, then we will generate a new response. So just verifying that the last message is not from the assistant. Then we will go ahead and I will just write st.get-message assistant over here and just added a spinner which will revolve when the user passes a prompt. Okay, so we are just calling the buff function, generate llama to response, and just adding the placeholder over here, empty placeholder. I will just display the full response over here. This will be displayed in our output. The role as assistant will generate a full response, and that's called st.session-state.messages and append this message. So our application is now ready and we are good to go. Just checking it once. Let's run it. Oh, it's already run. Oh shit, man. Oh, just copy this and just correct. Okay, so that's now good. And rerun this. I will just add that applicate API token over here. Let me just copy it and add over here. I'm just copying the API token and now adding over here now. A prompt. Okay. Append spellings are wrong. Hope it will work. Spinner spellings again wrong. So now if I just write hi, so what is Python? This is my question. Python is a popular programming language. What is Java? This is my another question. Java is a popular programming language. Okay. If I just click on clear history button, it clears all the chat history. So that's all from this video tutorial. In this video tutorial, we have learned how we can create a Llama chatbot with Llama 2, and we have created a Streamlit application as well. Thank you for watching.